to do is actually save it. Not, in other words, the point, I don't think I was, and perhaps I misunderstand, I wasn't given the choice to keep it as it is. I was, basically, when I first came here, I said, that's a goner. And I said, okay, but then I said, couldn't we keep the front? Because the front is nice and Art Deco, and then couldn't we keep the two halls at the side? Right, the theater on the left, theater on the right. And I thought I was making progress, and finally we had an idea to keep the dome even, right? So basically, what I thought is we were building back from a demolition site to keeping the building. I hadn't considered that we could keep it as it is exactly for the same use, because then you're back on the demolition. I think if we said we're going to keep it as it is, presumably losing money, then I think you're going to lose the whole building. But I may be wrong, but I actually thought the proposal we made would save the building.
I guess my point is, with that being given, and you accepted it, what do we replace it with to keep those 1,000 people that come downtown, spend money, rent hotel rooms if they don't live here, those that simply out financing now?
When is Mardi Gras?
February, January, March.
Okay. I think to answer your question, I would have to come. Because I must admit, I have a kind of difficult time imagining it. I just can't, I can't imagine it. So I'd have to see it. And then I think it's kind of political initiative. We love this place, this is a civic building, and we want to spend money on it. I have not looked at the finances of the city. I do know that a city in which I hear that 7 light standards aren't being replaced is a city that's kind of scraping, a kind of, that has budget constraints. But it's almost not my business to get there. If you want, I can pursue it, but that's pretty high-level decision-making. So, and I'll be very confident. I just thought this was a way to save the building. Let me ask a question. Does New Orleans have a Mardi Gras that ends up indoors?
Yes.
Where and where?
They have various places because their organizations parade or different regions come out.
You have one.
Most of the parades start at the Civic Center and end back at the Civic Center. That looping downtown, Louisville, walking, people go to the bars, go over to the balls, back and forth.
I see.
There's a few that have their balls outlying areas. But mostly big old cruise Civic Center.
I see. So they do have the equivalent of a large space as well.
He's asking about New Orleans.
I'm talking about New Orleans. What about this bridge we built? Couldn't they sort of sashay up to the convention center and... Not big enough. Oh, I see. It's not big enough. Okay. That's funny. I would have thought it was too big, but I see. I don't understand. I do. I'll reserve a room now.
Okay, one more, and then we're going to let everybody have some questions. Here we go.
Okay, I'd just like to briefly remark that the most livable inner city is familiar to me. At some point, the city administrations had to deal with the question of many residents having pets that need to be walked. So as the residential areas fill back in again, I think we need to consider a designated pet park. And I'm not a pet owner. It's just an observation. I don't want to step in it, but for the animals to run and have some way to manage that. That as far as sports, south of here we lost a great income maker with low upkeep when we lost the soccer tournaments going for lack of facilities going across the bay. And I believe that one estimate the coaches had showed that the cost of building a field, and they were hoping for something down around Texas Street, a little south of here, would be less than we were losing in 2 years with what people were spending coming to those tournaments. And that third, as we're growing, I will ride the buses, and I am always explaining to people who come in from other states or other countries. I had a couple from Ecuador that were professional cousin visiting today, wanting to know why it was so difficult to get from downtown out to the airport, and why we have an underutilized bus system in some ways, but the linkages are not clear and are not being used productively, so that people get off when they come to the airport, they don't know how to get to the downtown hotels by
Okay.
bus, and they do anticipate that.
Okay, whatever has to do with downtown of that kind, I think the Downtown Alliance would like to hear, but we did constrain ourselves to the loop, and I don't know whether there's enough land here to have a soccer tournament. Is that or not just a soccer field, perhaps,
The site she's talking about is just south of downtown, but it would be a good site.
for the soccer tournament?
Yeah, we like that site.
Okay. By the way, I think a soccer field wouldn't hurt to have downtown.
Except that big school, that big.
With the school, of course. That very large school site, of course. Yes, that's what should happen. Yeah. Great. What else?
Okay, one more.
Hey, by the way, may I ask a question? Does anybody think that a baseball field is a good idea? Just but these are small. You do?
Yeah, the city built one out about 5 miles from here, but can you?
And how is it?
It's nice.
The problem with, you see, what's happening is that this is really happening. Anything that isn't urban isn't cool. Have you noticed? You can build a venue out there, and there's but the very same field embedded in the downtown, and there's one town after another. It's absolutely spectacular. This is what's happening. Urbanism is back.
Okay.
Over there, ma'am.
Hi. I had two things to bring up. One thing is that, okay, right there. Okay. When I get together with my artist friends, and a number of us would love to work in like Cathedral Square, and I get all excited, and then people start going, oh, yeah, but then the licensing and this and that, and then the idea just falls out again. Whereas when I think about it, it would actually be free marketing for the city of Mobile if artists were out there in Cathedral Square, Bienville Square, doing their art, because the word would get around. Wow, you can see artists out there painting now.
You need
So
licenses to be an artist?
I think you probably need a peddler's license to be out there, unless it's art walk. But I was just wondering about something being done to make it easier for the artists to be out there, other than art walk and the market, you know.
To be easier, we'll have to find out first of all whether there's any impediments. What kind of art? Canvases?
Well, that's what a number of people would like to do. Others might, put things together with wood and stuff. I do something
You should.
different, but
Yeah, but also most cities have artists in the streets.
where we could just go out on a Monday or a Saturday, whatever, just go out and
Right?
work.
We could do that.
I mean, I know the sales tax thing is up for vote, but
Yeah. Well,
just do it? Okay.
have you, Elizabeth? Have you considered this an outdoor artist thing, or allowing them to? I mean, the Downtown Alliance.
We need to work harder on it.
Okay. Well, that is a little detailed. I'm sure it's controversial. Art usually is. So I don't know what to answer. But suddenly I'm into something very small, which is whether you get a license to do something downtown. So I think now we've solved all the big problems, and we should have dinner. How does that sound? Okay. Downtown.
Well, thank you all for coming. We will, downtownmobile.org, please remember that website. We will get the plan when we get it back from